What's up, everybody? Here we are, and we are going to jump into the topic of the things they never told their kids. What should they have told their kids that they did not tell their kids? Jump on into the video, and I will see you in there, and we will talk about it. Let's go. Welcome to the Equipped Disciple channel. My name is Rick McClatchy. I will be your host. We are here to be and to make disciples of Jesus, and we do that through daily devos, through Sunday sermons, and through other discipleship resources. We are here to equip you. What's up, guys? Welcome in. We are here to knock out another section in the book of Judges, and we are going to talk about the things that they never told their kids. It's one of the important concepts that gets talked about here in the book of Judges. It is a generational transfer of relationship with God, faith in God, understanding of who God is, knowledge of who He is, so that you can face the challenges that come your way. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the text. Verse 6 of chapter 2, previously when Joshua had sent the people away, the Israelites had gone to take possession of the land, each to his own inheritance. These people worshiped the Lord throughout Joshua's lifetime and during the lifetime of the elders who outlived Joshua. They had all seen the Lord's great works He had done for Israel. So all of them from this generation had seen the mighty hand of God working on their behalf. And so obviously they had equipping to have faith and confidence in who God is to perform the things that He promised to perform. So looking at that, we go back to the scriptures and we see this right here where it says, Joshua, son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died at the age of 110. They buried him in the territory of his inheritance in Timnath-Heres in the hill country of Ephraim, north of Mount Gash. Here's where I want you to pick this up. That whole generation was also gathered to their ancestors, and listen to this. After them, another generation rose up who did not know the Lord or the works He had done for Israel. The Israelites did what was evil in the Lord's sight, and they worshiped the Baals. So the lack of relationship, the lack of understanding, the lack of learning about who God was basically doomed this generation to fail, to walk away from God, because when things get tough and you don't have any relationship to keep you grounded, generational transfer or lack thereof, right? Because it's one thing if the previous generation hadn't seen the mighty hand of God move on their behalf, and yet they never conveyed the story. They never passed it on. They never actually had the opportunity for the younger generation to see the mighty hand of God really move on their behalf. And so they basically, times get tough and they turn their backs, right? They walked away and they abandoned the Lord, the God of their ancestors who had brought them up out of Egypt. They followed their gods from the surrounding peoples and bowed down to them. They angered the Lord, for they abandoned Him and worshipped Baal and the Ashtoreths. The Lord's anger burned against Israel, and He handed them over to marauders who raided them. He sold them to the enemies around them, and they could no longer resist their enemies. So I think it's interesting in here where it calls out the fact that they angered the Lord by their rebellion, by their turning their backs on Him, by them walking away, by them worshiping other gods. It says they angered the Lord. And I think sometimes we go a little soft. We go a little soft on this whole concept because we want to talk about the love of God. We want to talk about His grace. We want to talk about His mercy, right? But it literally says His anger burned against them. So it wasn't even just He was mad at the sin. No, his anger burned against them because they turned their backs completely on him, and they went the opposite direction and worshiped false gods. And so I think it's just really helpful, I think, to recognize that, man, but so here's the bright spot in it all. Because I know that can get a little hairy to start talking about God being all angry and all that good stuff. So verse 15, whenever the Israelites went out, the Lord was against them and brought disaster on them, just as he had promised and sworn to them. So they suffered greatly. The Lord raised up judges who saved them from the power of their marauders. So are you catching what's going on here? In one section, it's saying that they angered him and that his anger burned against them. And then the result of their sinful behavior, he said, I'm going to send marauders. They're going to raid you. I'm not going to back you up anymore. They're going to get you. But then here, verse 16, the Lord raised up judges who saved them from the power of their marauders. So the very one that is putting them into the consequence of their sin is also providing the deliverance from that place as well. Like, God can barely get the penalty out, the disciplinary actions. He can barely get them started before he already starts talking about the restoration and the healing of his people. Because that really is how much God loves his people. But he hates the sin. He hates the idolatry because it destroys us. Like, he loves us. He created us. He wants us to be full of life. Jesus came that you would have life and life to the full. And so God hates when we are engaged in things that are going to bring us death. Sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death, always and forever. That is what happens. Verse 17, but they did not listen to their judges. So, gosh, he sends people to go and save them from their sins, and they still don't listen. Instead, they prostituted themselves with other gods, bowing down to them. They quickly turned from the way of their ancestors who had walked in obedience to the Lord's commands, and they did not do as their ancestors did. So they had examples of how to follow God, of how to worship God, of how to stay faithful to God, and yet they went and did the opposite. Man, God raised up the judges to save them from the judgment that he was bringing on them, because that's how good God is. Like, just type a hallelujah in the comment box if you want to be thankful for the amazing grace and mercy of God that he demonstrates towards his people. Verse 18, whenever the Lord raised up a judge for the Israelites, the Lord was with him and saved the people from the power of their enemies while the judge was still alive. The Lord was moved to pity whenever they groaned because of those who were oppressing and afflicting them. Whenever the judge died, the Israelites would then act even more corruptly than their ancestors, following other gods to serve them and bow and worship to them. And they did not turn from their evil practices or their obstinate ways. They did not turn from their evil practices or their obstinate ways. I mean, shoot. Like, what do you even say? What do you even say about that? Like, that's sad, but relatable, right? I mean, have you ever been in that place? Have you ever been in that place where you were rebelling against God and you had somebody come to try to save you from it, and you turned your back on that and you're like, no, I'm not going that way. I'm not listening to you. Or, you know what? Fine, I'll do what you say, and you see it improve for a little while, and then they go away and you revert right back to where you were. Verse 20, the Lord's anger burned against Israel, and he declared, because this nation has violated my covenant that I made with their ancestors and disobeyed me, I will no longer drive out before them any of the nations Joshua left when he died. I did this to test Israel and to see whether or not they would keep the Lord's way by walking in it, as their ancestors had. The Lord left these nations and did not drive them out immediately. He did not hand them over to Joshua. So God left some of these people there to test them, to really be able to give an opportunity to see what is going on in their hearts about their relationship with him, about how they want to pursue him or not pursue him. And so we need to just be paying attention to sometimes the challenges, sometimes the hurdles that you face in your life are actually placed there by God to help reveal your character and your heart. I mean, he already knows your heart, right? So he doesn't need to see what's going on because he knows everything. He's omniscient, right? He knows everything perfectly. But you think he might want to reveal it to you? He might want to show you what's actually in your heart. I know I have testimony in my life of times where God allowed some pretty significant challenges to come into my life to reveal what was actually going on in my heart so that I could have actually a pretty accurate view of what was going on in my heart instead of like my little fake, I don't know, kind of whatever I thought was actually going on in my heart. So God's faithful to test us so that we can learn what's really going on in our hearts. So with all of that, I'm praying, my prayer today is that you would walk away from these verses just with a greater exaltation of God's name in your life, that he is the God of the universe. He created heaven and earth. He created you. He has his hand on your life. He is guiding you. He's directing you. These challenges and stuff that comes up in your life, he wants you to just surrender your heart to him and follow him with all that you have. And don't wander off and serve these other gods. Don't wander off and serve yourself. Don't wander off and just try to fulfill all of your own desires. Love God because he loves you more than anybody could ever love you. He's paid the price for you. So with that, big hearty, God bless you. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video.
Hey, if you're getting value out of these videos, if you could just make sure you hit the like button, maybe subscribe to the channel. YouTube is suggesting a video right about here for you to check out. So go ahead and check out the next video.